Is it ever so quiet? What? What's that? Big. That's all my yesterday. Okay, yeah, that's good. Okay. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good vach. Good yar. Everything good. To sure. All right, officially we're on page 213. Last week we didn't even read anything inside. We just spoke to our insides. Huh? Look at you now. Just smile. Okay, thanks. So we're in the sugya, of course, bitachon, but befrat, we're discussing relationships. Relationships between people, friends, family. And I said 2 weeks ago, and I said last week, or 3 weeks ago, whatever it may be, that I really want to sit on this aspect, this prat within bitachon a lot, because a lot of our life relies on, is around relationships with people. And what people don't necessarily know, and we have come to know through the Sefer and through our limud and our learning, is that relationships can be built upon, maintained, enhanced through bitachon. Many relationships do not start because there's a lack of bitachon. People don't know that. Many relationships break apart because there's a lack of bitachon in a Kadosh Baruch Hu. We'll get to people in a second. But there's many relationships that break, that can't be maintained because they can't work it out because they have nothing. When the going gets tough and the tough gets going, then they just go bye-bye. This is happening more and more because I'll just find someone else. I'll just find something else. It's easy. It's made in China. People are made in China. Everything's made in China. So I'll just go find another friend group, another spouse maybe. Whatever, maybe. Let's go find something else. No? There's so many fish in the sea, so many things. Bitachon gives a person the wherewithal, the chizik, the strength, the emes to withstand difficulties. That's what bitachon does, right? And especially in relationships. So we discussed last 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, whatever it be, we read in the Sefer a little bit. We got into the sugya. Last week we discussed something about relationships. We went a little bit deep, and I'm just going to chazer over for a minute, and then I'm going to. I think today I want to go through some examples. And maybe we'll get to the Sefer, maybe not. Doesn't really matter because we're in the right sugya. So last week we just a little chazar. Last week we were discussing different levels of relationships, different levels of what is being passed through in the relationships, and how bitachon or the lack thereof can either make or break. We're discussing different relationships. A person could be sharing. A person could be in a business partnership, a give and take relationship, client and a boss and someone who's working, someone who's selling and buying. You don't really know the person, hi-bye, but we share products. Then you could have a person who's friendly. Again, there's many madrigas. If you're friendly, you like to share things with them, ideas. Maybe family, you want to share ideas with. You want to share something a little bit deeper about your life, not just give and take. I'll give you, then you give back to me, or I'm only going to give to you if you give me first. More than that, a little bit of a more lishma type of relationship. Then there's even higher than there's family relationships where there's a new midah that opens up, the main midah of all relationships, which is ahava, right? Love. Which is, if you look, we're not going to read it right now, but in this section of the Chovos HaLevavos, he continually uses the word of, not chaver, which chaver is also an important word, chibur. But there's different ways to make a chibur. The strongest way is through ahava. And in ahava, there's two madregas: ahava shetaluya b'davar, ahava she'ein taluya b'davar. Sorry, I'm throwing a lot of concepts at you. We'll try to speak about all of these things slowly. But so you have a relationship of ahava where now there's an open heart, there's something more deep. Maybe you want to share emotions, share your feelings, or own up to your feelings, which is very difficult to do. With a deeper relationship, you could do that. You're not going to, sometimes you just break and you just tell the guy on the street, how you're feeling. But we don't want to get to that point. Within the relationship, there's different things so there's different types of relationships, again, between people. From a high-by, partnership, friends, family, Rebbe, family, whatever, spouse. Many, many relationships. And within that, then you'll share more and more things. Superficially, you share stuff. Deeper, you share ideas, like we said. Even deeper, you share emotions. Even deeper, maybe you share your deepest secrets, maybe. That's going to be dependent on your level of relationship. And we said that a person will hold back from anything, from giving over, if he doesn't trust the other one. And there's different levels of trust. I will only give you my money for an investment if I trust, to some degree, I'm saying in the person, that, he can make me some money. I'm not going to invest my money with some guy who just comes up the street, hey, give me $1 million and I'll get you 8%. Sir, I don't even know who you are.
No, thank you, Bernie.
Yeah. I don't know that. What are we talking about? I don't know. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I asked. 10%. Okay. Anyway, you're not going to do it with a person off the street. You have to at least have some kind of trust within that person. But that person, if you invest money, it doesn't mean you're going to invest your deepest, darkest secrets with that person. But to somebody deeper, if you trust them, if you trust a family member, you trust a good friend, you might share your emotions with that person that you wouldn't have shared with somebody else. But if you don't trust that person, you're not going to share, you're going to hold back. You're going to be using more of the world of gevura, tzimtzum, to hold yourself back. You're not going to be open and free. And as we said, I will say right now, that doesn't mean with bitachon you're going to open up your heart to everybody and open up your bank account to everybody. Because listen, HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world. It doesn't matter. I can invest with anybody. And if HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants it to go, we'll go. If not. That's not hishtadlus. Remember, you always need hishtadlus. Back to the sugya here. With bitachon, if you trust this person, you'll open up. Now, we might hold back because we're nervous. Which makes sense. I'm nervous. What's going to be if I open up? What might happen? The person might look at me in a bad way. If I give my money to this person, I might lose all my money. He's a reputable source. He has a reputation. I have friends who have invested with him and he makes money. I can't do it. I just can't do it. And we're not saying anybody has to invest. That's not what we're saying here. But I want to. But I can't. I'm so nervous. So if you have bitachon in the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and you've worked on that sugya, you trust the Kadosh Baruch Hu, right? There's the me, then there's the investor, and then let's get to the height of the triangle. The top of the pyramid is really Kadosh Baruch Hu. If I have bitachon in the Kadosh Baruch Hu, that I believe that He created the world, He creates every single moment, He loves me, He knows more about me than I know about myself. Everything is always for my best. He's all powerful. Nobody could stop Him. Nobody could even move Him an inch if He doesn't want to move. And therefore I could fully trust in Him. So if I do my hishtadlus work, Kadosh Baruch Hu, it looks like this makes sense, I'm with you. And then you invest the money. And then you cut ties with it emotionally, right? If it goes up, great. Hakar satov. You could have simcha after the fact. Meaning when you cut ties, it means until there is whatever happens. You cut ties with it. You don't look at it every single second, unless it's a penny stock, which that takes a high level of bitachon to even get involved with. Very high level. Don't try to trick yourself thinking that you're this big bitachon, and then you put $1 million in this IPO. Is that what it's called? IPO? And then it sinks. To be very careful when it comes to bitachon. There's a lot of ideas of bitachon being thrown around, I hear, that are not this sugya. And in here, there's only a certification for chavos avos. There's no certification for any other mahalach and bitachon coming out from here. Let's be very clear. I hear things all the time. People show me things. I'm like, that's very nice. That's not us. That's not us. If you're guaranteed promises, that's not us. Might be true. If you have bitachon, you're guaranteed. If you have bitachon, this is going to happen. Maybe. That's not our sugi. So it's like a sales pitch, right? If you invest with me, I guarantee 10%. It could be true, but you might also lose. You might, right? No one can guarantee that. It's never happened. So therefore, same thing with bitachon. If someone's guaranteeing, if you have bitachon, this will happen, by all means, go there. But that is not this mahalach. Never, ever put that on the cholos of Oz. That wouldn't be fair. I see people do that. It's just, that's not right. It's geneva. It's not right. You could do that. And it could be called bitachon. There are mahalachim like that. I want to be very clear. But not the cholos of Oz. So with bitachon, in a Kadosh Baruch Hu, you can invest money, you can invest time, you can invest focus, you can invest your heart to whomever is the vessel on the other side. If you've done your hashtadlus and it's appropriate, I'm not investing my heart with some guy I just met 2 seconds ago. I will invest my heart with someone I had built a relationship with maybe. But I might hold back because I'm still nervous. But with bitachon, in a Kadosh Baruch Hu, over time, if you do it right, you can open up to the right person. You can share your feelings. You can share your ideas without thinking that that guy's now going to take it and try to patent it in China or something and take all your money. If you don't have bitachon, you're nervous about everything. We discussed this. The alchemist, that's in monetary. Now we're turning more into social, into relationships. Does this make sense? We're discussing? Yes? So what I want to do right now, I have a list, just a sheet. I will give it out afterwards, but I didn't want to give it out dafka now. So I want to go through one by one slowly, one by one. We're going to just think about it, not to, your eyes roaming. Because each of this whole list is a beautiful list. You're like, wow, that's amazing, amazing. Wow, great, great. But you have to live it. You can't just read it and then you have it. You have to think about it. So in a relationship, there's two ways. There's my love, my connection to somebody, and then there's somebody connecting to me. Right now, in this list, we are discussing our connection to the other person and my feelings, my reactions. We will get back to others loving you, others choosing you, others wanting to befriend you, and so on and so forth. And we have to. So relationship is two ways. For example, trusting, let's give you a general clause. And if anything is wrong here, let's discuss it. Trusting Hashem helps a person remain calm in challenging situations. Yes? Reducing reactive behaviors like anger, jealousy, or resentment. True? Imagine a scenario where someone feels slighted by a friend. Instead of harboring bitterness, they trust that God manages all outcomes in relationships, enabling them to forgive and move on without escalating the issue. True? Somebody does something to you that hurts you, said something, did something. You can get angry, resentful. You can get even really deep. And I helped you. Not just you're a friend. And I just helped you yesterday. And I just gave you a loan yesterday. I spent time with you yesterday, which just like stokes the coals of the fire in the heart. And you might lose a relationship over that. You might lose hours, days, weeks of your life stewing over that. But if we have bitachon, we can trust that HaKadosh Baruch Hu manages all outcomes and all relationships, and everything is for the best. And through that, though it doesn't take 2 seconds, you have to work on it. Things can calm down. Because what are we saying with bitachon? Let's give it some more language. When we utilize bitachon and we're connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a deep way, which means it's me and HaKadosh Baruch Hu first and foremost. Wake up in the morning, moda'ani. I go to sleep, Shema Yisrael. It's me and HaKadosh Baruch Hu throughout the whole day. Happens to be I also have a family. Happens to be I also have learning. Happens to be I also have work. Happens to be I also have friends. But my relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu was always the first, and it's always there. I'm just adding another piece to that. So if I have my dependency, my bitachon, my tuluya bedavar, different beginnings of the same thing, on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, always, first and foremost, never to move, then I'm able to pull back my emotional dependency, my monetary dependency, my intellectual dependency on other people, events, things. Right? If I have a place to trust, then I don't need to give myself fully over to all the other people and events and things in life. I have a Kodesh Baruch Hu to give myself over to. If you build that relationship. Bitachon. And therefore, if I'm emotionally dependent on a Kodesh Baruch Hu, we're still humans, I can pull back my emotional dependency on that person. And so if that person slights me, okay, so be it. That's what Kodesh Baruch Hu wanted. I don't know. Kodesh Baruch Hu, you saw that happen. I don't know why. Maybe I'm a Baal Gaiva. Maybe I need to work on myself. Maybe you just had a bad day. But we're not going to lose our day, week, month. We're not going to start hating people. We're not going to start losing ourselves. It's going to be okay. Simpler said than done. But is that not a process that can be done, can be worked on? We could save ourselves. We could create a life for ourselves. Anybody have a question on this? Yeah. Oh, you're on the back over there.
My question is bitachon the only way to manage that situation?
No.
Is it the most ideal? I mean, I was recently at
It's a way.
A family somehow where somebody was talking and another family member in the crowd got very insulted by it was like a slip, nothing intentional, and that family member was extremely reactive and at the table. It was
Not good.
Right? Not good. Instead, someone who's worked on it would say, okay, that really hurts. That's very insulting. I feel very insulted and hurt, but like I'm at a table in a dining room with 100 people. I'm going to put that to the side for the moment and have a talk with the person later on, and we'll talk it out. Is bitachon coming in over there? Is that what bitachon is? Meaning, I feel I'm a developed person, and it doesn't mean that I'm connected to Hashem or I'm connected to myself.
That's midos. That there's no problem. I said this last week. I'm happy you're asking. This relationships usually revolve around midos, deep midos work, which unfortunately is bichlal not done at all. I don't want to say deeper. It might be deeper, but I don't want to get so technical. Bitachon is another way that you could bypass the whole world of midos, meaning midos work. And I'm going to lose people on this because it's a little bit complicated. Bitachon is another way. And also midos are sometimes based on bitachon. Anava is very dependent on bitachon. Ahava is very dependent on bitachon. Let's leave it at that. There are other ways. Of course, midos work is the classic way, but people aren't doing that either. Bitachon is a tikkun klali. Because if I'm with a Kadosh Baruch Hu, then everything can be lowered.
Or can you just say that your midos are the hishtadlos of bitachon when it comes to that kind of situation?
Maybe you could say that. It's going to get very dicey with the words. Maybe you could say that, but I don't want to. First, we have to work on bitachon. We have to understand the sugya. We have to work on midas, and then we'll see how they interplay between. Because we'll say. But this is all true. And if everybody's thinking about these things, I'll just give you one difference. And then I'll go to David, and then if you have, let's say you worked on midas. Just give me an example. There's endless examples. In this situation, this person was hurt by what was happening, but because he understands the context he's in, he will use his restraint, his gevura, a midah. He will control himself until he can calmly speak to this person. But he's fire inside. Bitachon can calm that fire down before. Maybe he doesn't even have to speak to that person. Now again, the person slipped. You said the person slipped. So why do I even talk to him? It was a slip. I only need to talk to him because I'm so upset, but I'll calm myself down for the time being, which is gewaldic. It's huge. Most people do not. It's a different, it can touch the person in a different way. But these things, if you're working on midos and bitachon, they all work together, and it's a beautiful thing. But we're generally not working on the pnimis of things. This is unfortunate. What we've been doing for 2 years now is we're working on the pnimis of bitachon. We haven't even started one midah yet, even though I'm discussing all the midas in one. But you could do this with anava, ahava, gevura, teferes, the pnimis. Okay. Dave, what do you want to say?
So why is that example different than let's say employee, where we discussed before, if an employee has to be fired, like does something bad that has to be
You still on that? That's from like 4 years ago.
on it. But
You remember that? I remember that. Yeah.
So, like, why can I do this? I'm still calm, but that person insulted me. He's not a person that should be in my life. Like,
You could fire him. This is not saying you can't fire a person. It would say that Kadosh Baruch Hu manages all relationships. But if you have a person, the case, let's go back 4 years. There was a certain case where there was a guy at work who made a mistake or two or three, and he lost the company money. So the boss is very upset. This guy working for making us money, he lost money, got upset, he yelled at him, he fired him. So is that bitachon or is that not bitachon? So we said at the time, we were discussing this, so I remember now, we were discussing how you have to thin slice, I think we called it that. You have to thin slice situations. With bitachon, which brings a calm, you can start separating. When you get angry, when you get jealous, when you get any midah, all you see is red. You cannot start seeing other things. You lose your ability, your das. That's what it means. You've lost your das. In English, they say you've lost your mind. But it means you've lost your das. When you have bitachon, and we've discussed this, because it keeps you calm, you stay with your das. Now, if you have das, now you can make proper decisions. First of all, this guy lost the company money. No, he didn't. Kadosh Baruch Hu did. Kadosh Baruch Hu is the one who decides, bitachon, I trust, that Kadosh Baruch Hu is the one who made, ultimately, the company lose money. Oh, so this guy's off scot-free? No, you fired him. Nicely. You don't have to yell at the guy. Yelling at the guy means you're angry at him. I'm not angry at him. Kadosh Baruch Hu decided that the company should lose money. However, Kadosh Baruch Hu decided that this guy is the guy who was chosen to be the person who loses money. Could be it was a mistake, and we can move on. I don't lose myself with him. We can stay cordial, boss and worker, and we can move on. Or maybe this is not the first, second, or third time they made the mistake. Maybe he's not fit for the job. It's time to fire him. But we don't have to yell and scream and kill him.
You're angry at the situation.
But we don't want to be angry at all. 1 second. We don't want to be angry at all. 1 second. We don't want to be angry at all. Because the only person to be angry at would be a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Because if you really, really trust, again, if you really, really trust that a Kadosh Baruch Hu runs everything, then the Borei Olam is the one who made the company lose money. So first and foremost, if you want to be angry, you're angry at a Kadosh Baruch Hu, good luck with that. That's your stuff. But bitachon means it's calm. Kadosh Baruch Hu decided that's for the best. But now we have to, now we're calm. Now let's deal with this person calmly. Is this a person who, it's his first time making a mistake? Really, he's really very good. It was a mistake. It was COVID. Blame it on something. So maybe we don't fire the guy. Or maybe this is it. We can't keep him anymore. Again, you have das. You're not angry. You're not losing yourself, making big mistakes. You're calm. You're thinking. You're seeing the whole person, the whole situation. But Lamais, it's time to go. So nicely, you say, I'm sorry. This is not good for you. This is not jobs not Korea. I'm so sorry. We love you. But you're fired.
Where's the room for any emotions then, in that case?
What emotion would you like to have there? Would you like to have anger? Would you like to have resentment?
I would like to have, not resentment, no. I would like to have some anger and then come in. There needs to be a certain space for anger.
So let's be, you want to be human.
I want to be human.
Human. So you can be upset. You can be upset. If you want to, human is a person who's working on bitachon. So we're working on bitachon, but we're human. I thank you for bringing this up because when we do discuss the highest levels, we forget to be human.
Yeah.
Human is, you're upset. You're upset. The guy lost money. I'm upset. I'm angry. But bitachon slowly starts to kick in. But it wasn't this guy. I'm still angry because I lost money, but I'm slowly separating where my anger is pointed at. I'm able to process. With bitachon, you can process your emotions. Thank you for bringing it up because this is not the first time other people have brought it up, and it's important. Because as I think I said it, but we have to explain it clearly. We are human beings. And we are not at this madrega yet. And we are going to get angry, frustrated, upset, nervous, worried, stressed. All of the emotions. The goal is to slowly work on them through bitachon, ultimately not getting bothered at all, or at least in certain situations. But bitachon is a process to work on. So at least if I'm getting angry and even resentful towards a person, slowly we could pull it away from that person and at least direct it towards a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Not because I'm angry at a Kadosh Baruch Hu, but that's where I need to process my stuff, my emotions. To process it with this person, it's not going to work. You're the reason, at least right now, I think, you're the reason that I lost money. How are you going to calm down from that? Until you fire the guy, until you wreak havoc in his life, you can't calm down, which never works anyway. But what we want to do with bitachon at least, and this is very good. Again, thank you. Even with your emotions, turn it towards a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Because at least when trusting means, I know this all came from you. So if I'm upset at anybody, I need to at least deal with you, Kadosh Baruch Hu. I need to think about this. That itself creates a revach, a gap in time. I'm not sure if you're going to agree with that. It's going to create at least a moment of thinking to set yourself a little bit. Still, you could be upset. You lost money. You needed that money. You're hoping on that money. You're expecting that money. Again, all words that we would like to, minimize with bitachon. But look, we're humans. But to turn it from the human being, whether it's the spouse, the kid, the client, the boss, the manager, the Rebbe, anybody you're upset at, to pull it back from them and say, let me deal with this with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's massive, earth-shattering. Even if we're not perfect human beings, it would change a lot. Again, that is changing our emotional dependency on people to a Kadosh Baruch Hu where it's supposed to be. And we could still be emotions. Even with perfect bitachon, and we've said this before, you will have more beautiful emotions, I think. Deeper. You might not be a person who has, let's say, highest level bitachon. Okay? Let's say, highest level bitachon. He wins the lottery, let's say. Why is he playing the lottery? He wins the lottery, whatever it is. Someone bought a ticket for him. Wins $50 million. Highest level bitachon. Great. So Kadosh Baruch Hu takes away $50 million. He gives me $50 million. No difference. Highest level bitachon, yes? But what about when he thinks about it in Hakar Satov? Bitachon doesn't say don't have Hakar Satov. So now you think about that. After not the second it drops. See, we're very reactive people. Whether it's bad or it's good, we're very reactive. I'm happy, I made $1 million. Oh, I'm so sad I lost. Bitachon says, whoa, relax. The first moment is not where life's at. Be calm. Whether you lost or you made, be calm. After that, 1 second. Kadosh Baruch Hu, what did you give me over here? This is an amazing gift. A dangerous gift. You have das. I have to be very careful with this. But this is huge. What I could do with this, amazing. Kadosh Baruch Hu, thank you. And if you take it away from me, I'll probably tell them, take it away from me. That's your choice. But again, you can use properly midos. We have never really worked on midos. Our midos are still reactive. My simcha is reactive. Simcha is not supposed to be reactive. Simcha? Unless you've worked on it. Simcha is something much, much deeper than just a reaction. I made money, I'm happy. That's not simcha. That might be happy. That's not called simcha. Simcha is a serious midah. Simcha is a chayim. Yes, does it make sense what I'm saying? And we're in the world of midas, but we're connected to bitachon. Okay. Good? Good. We've said a lot here. And that was just example number 1. But these are good, these are important questions. These are human. We're humans. You have to remember we're humans. Trust the Kadosh Baruch Hu that he knows you're human. Because you brought up this point. What can happen? This happens all the time. The person's working on bitachon. He legitimately is working on bitachon. And he has legitimately done his work. And he's a better person. And he's reactive. Really. He's not as angry, he's not as resentful, he's not as stressed, he's really, really done very well. And then what happens is he gets an isayon and he gets very upset. Really gets upset. And then afterwards, he kills himself. He beats himself up. Why? Because he didn't have bitachon. Because he got angry. I was doing so well. And then he kills himself. What has he forgotten? Bitachon. He's untrusted Kadosh Baruch Hu. The Kadosh Baruch Hu knows he's human. So I made a mistake. I got really angry. Oh, I'm a human being. Oh, okay. That's also, I have bitachon in the Kadosh Baruch Hu that he knows that I'm human. If a Kadosh Baruch Hu trusts in me, then I could trust in me. So why do we beat ourselves up? Anytime a person beats himself up, if he beats himself up and it's mechazik him, you're good. But if you beat yourself down, then that's you've gone the wrong way, and there's no reason for that. It's a very tricky situation. It's very, very tricky. People get lost in this. Why would a person ever beat himself down? Only because that's what he thinks is the mahalach. That's the old school mahalach. That's not a mahalach. We got to beat ourselves up. If you want to be harsh with yourself, you want to be a little kutzker, go right ahead. But make sure you come out on top. There's a lot going on over here today. I don't know if we should even go on right there. Everybody still with me?
Yeah.
There's a lot of depth of the emotions. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, number 2. Here's a good one. Bitachon in a Kadosh Baruch Hu cultivates patience, savlanas, as one trusts that every person and interaction is part of a Kadosh Baruch Hu's plan. So I can be patient. It didn't come yet. Kadosh Baruch Hu decided it wasn't supposed to come yet. This person, I'm waiting for this person for an hour already. Kadosh Baruch Hu decided that person shouldn't come yet. No, it's that person. Don't bring God into this. It's that person. I know they take a lot of time. Bitachon says, no. Kadosh Baruch Hu decided it's not time yet. And, parenthetically, to say it nicely, as Rav Simcha Bunim said, don't be a fool. If you know this person's a late person, don't be there on time. And don't be a fool. It's part of his shtadlus is don't be a fool. We have to know. You have people who they get in the same fight every single time. Okay, be there at 10 o'clock. And never is that person on 10 o'clock. After the third time, chazaka, yeah, they're going to be there at 10:30. So what do you be there at 10 o'clock for? Or if you are there at 10, because you're a yeki, you can't control yourself, so bring something to do. And don't expect them to be there. Right? You'll see. We fall into the same patterns all the time. Al Capone. So Bitachon HaKadosh Baruch Hu cultivates patience. This perspective fosters greater tolerance for others' flaws or mistakes. Our kids make a mistake. We have to yell at them right away. What do you have to yell at them right away for? Give them some time to grow. This is a difficult thing. Because sometimes mistakes and growth takes 16 years. 44 years. I'm talking about the kids right now. Sometimes your kids are doing something and you know, okay, let's say you have das. You hope, with the Kadosh Baruch Hu's, right, that the kid's they're gonna get out of this. Kids are sometimes very disrespectful. Very disrespectful kid. Most probably the way they speak to their parents, although not good, they're probably not going to continue that their entire life. Over time, so classic old school parent is we have to come down harsh. Disrespect, can't tolerate this. Can't tolerate this. Now, of course, there has to be hishtadlus done. I'm not saying turn a blind eye. But to think that you're going to solve the problem in 5 seconds, I'm going to take away all your stuff. You're going to sit in your room for the rest of your life. And that's it. Until you learn to not be disrespectful, just sit in your room. Never letting you out. Is that going to work? It'll work as long as they're in the room. But the second they're let out of the room, you need patience. Now, patience is, even when you're working with somebody educationally, you need patience. Patience. We lose patience. But with bitachon, you can see, the midah is patience. But we're going to see bitachon is what helps it. A parent struggling with a rebellious child might, through trust in a Kadosh Baruch Hu, focus on the long-term development of their child's soul rather than reacting harshly to momentary misbehavior. This is that right here. You have an entire book of how to rear your children from this one line. Right there. It takes a few years of learning bitachon. But once you get bitachon down, you could have a one-line book of chinuch.
Could you repeat that, please?
What I just read here? Yeah. A parent struggling with a rebellious child might, through trust in a Kadosh Baruch Hu, focus on the long-term development of their child's soul rather than reacting harshly to momentary misbehavior. You'll have patience. Still guiding them. We're not saying let them do whatever they want. You have to deal with them, you have to learn with them, you have to talk to them, or sometimes you have to give them their space. You are able to do all of these things if you have bitachon. Maybe also if you have savlanis from another place, somehow you got that, but bitachon is a key ingredient to the very ever important need of patience in all areas, not just children, also with family, also with friends, also with a spouse, with everybody. And most importantly, really, with ourselves and a Kodesh Baruch. One of the, now in the world of Midas, I can go on for a long time with Midas, but probably the source of a lot of the flaws of our Midos outwards to other people is because we don't have it for ourselves. We're not patient with ourselves. We get upset at ourselves when we're not good enough, we're not quick enough, whether it's in learning, in davening, in money. We get upset at ourselves. We don't patient with ourselves. Memela, it's going to come out with everybody else. And if it's coming out with everybody else, you probably have it inside of you. This is a Torah from Baal Shem. Very, very deep. If you're exhibiting a midah in an inappropriate way, I said that carefully, because there's basically no midah ra in the world, but a midah in an inappropriate way, I'm going to say most probably, but check into it, you probably exhibit that somewhere in your own life within yourself. Otherwise, how are you using that? How do you know how to use that with other people? Unless you're a master and you've perfected yourself, or on the derech of perfection, which people can do, and you've worked on the tools of savlanis even for yourself, then you can use it on other people. Or even, there is an appropriate anger. If you have to use anger to fire yourself up, not beat yourself down. If you need to fire up against the Yetzer Hara, angry, to fire yourself up, that's appropriate. So then there's a proper way to use that even with other people. But don't use it until you really understand it. Some are very dangerous. Anger, fire, that's very dangerous. Okay. Good? Savlanis? Okay. Let's do another one. Trusting in a Kadosh Baruch Hu alleviates... Ready for this one? Trusting in a Kadosh Baruch Hu alleviates the need for constant approval from others. People probably don't even realize that they constantly need approval from others. As one's self-worth is anchored in their divine relationship. We have discussed this in the past. A person's self-esteem, self-confidence, self-worth, all the same thing, should be anchored in a relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. First, foremost, and forever. And if it is, and you're alive, then the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I want you in this world. So therefore, I am dependent on him, the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and my self-worth is good. I'm alive. I'm worthy of life. I'm worthy of having a parnasa. I'm worthy of having a family. So many people don't realize they don't feel worthy of these things. It's crazy. They have it. They have all the stuff. They have all the family. They have all the stuff. But they don't feel worthy of it. It's an unfortunate reality. They have everything, and they're not happy. Because they're putting their self-worth in other people's hands, and they make mistakes in how people look at them. We have to bitachon fosters a healthy self-confidence, a healthy self-esteem. And then you don't need the approval ratings of others. You don't need Siskel and Ebert. You don't need whoever it is in the markets. I don't know who gives the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Outperform, I don't understand. You don't need any of that stuff. It's between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. End of story. We're so dependent on the news and the people's opinions. It hurts me to even think about what people go through. That they care so much about, like that we care. I don't know what to say. Let's go. Okay. Specific. In a social setting, someone who trusts in a Kadosh Baruch Hu won't feel devastated if left out of a gathering. And you can put it, that's one example of a million. He's not in the conversation. Everybody's joking around, having a good time, and you're sitting on the side. What?
You're better off.
Most times, yes. Most times you're better off. Instead, they see it as part of God's plan. Maintaining healthy relationships without desperation or insecurity.
Where'd you get this from? This is like spot on.
This is life.
No, but I mean,
We'll talk about it afterwards.
I was going to ask you the same question. Where's this?
Wait, don't think I wrote this?
No. What is? Excuse me. You wrote this from your own stream of consciousness.
No.
All right. So what's the source? It's very good.
I put in this parak, what we're talking about, into ChatGPT.
Uh-oh.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's a chachma.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's a
I felt
chachma.
bad.
I wrote exactly what I wanted.
No, it's spot on.
I wrote about what this parak is
this
about,
is tough.
what bitachon is in a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And I said, give me general klolim of how bitachon would apply.
You use the word clone?
No.
Well, you can, by the way, if you
Whatever. I wrote it in English. I wrote a whole thing. I was very clear about it. And
Rabbi,
then
can this be digested by the teenagers in school today? See that what you're reading because
these are examples based on a bitachon work. It's spot on. This is human psychology made by God.
Yeah, but today, in any generation,
This should be in high school. Of course, it should be.
Yes.
Of course, it should be.
And try to tell a kid, I'm not going to be part of that crowd. The kid,
Of course, but it has to be. You can't just read this list to them. I'm only able to read this to you because we've worked over a year on bitachon.
It's going to relate to that.
We're
adults and we're having a hard time with this.
Well, I know.
It has to be built. It has to
We've been
be.
here for 3 years, 4 years, trying to learn.
What Mr. Parkov is saying is that he hears the MS. It's so clear. It's so clear. All of life would be better.
Yeah. If you
But
could
it takes-
photostat that, by the
I
way,
have. We'll give it to you. I wanted to go through it slowly.
It's a very
These are examples of life. It's taking this parak, taking hold of almost the Yesodos, and just expanding to more examples.
If you could make a copy for the next session,
We'll make a copy for you.
not for me, for the chevra.
I have. I did. That's why I said at the beginning. I don't want to give it out yet. I want to go through it slowly because I know if you read one, you're like, this is amazing. You're going to read the whole thing while I'm talking, and you're going to read the whole thing. You have to go through it slow. Each one of these is a case study. It could be an entire class, an entire week.
I'll give it to my grand-
But again, it's really dependent. You can't just read this and be like, wow, this is amazing. You have to work on the bitachon, the yesodos that we've been working on for a long time. You have to believe in a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Number one. Then you have to have the 7 conditions, which I keep quoting every single shir. When you really have worked on that, then you could bring it into these situations. But if you don't have bitachon, you're not going to have patience with the kid. You can't cheat the system. You can't read the book. Oh, got it. That's chinuch. I'll just be calm with him when he's rebellious. Got it. Thumbs up. That's not going to work.
You can't even just read something and expect it to have that.
That's why that's why I want to go slow. It's only based on a lot of work before. A lot of work. But yes, this can be taught. And it should be taught.
Is a good way to put this that because there were 2 things you were talking about. I really appreciated the example that David came up with the person getting fired, because there's 2 things going on. There's the emotional response to the circumstance, and then there's the I don't know.
It's a double circumstance. It was the monetary circumstance and then the social circumstance.
Okay, but then there was an actual act that was done that kind of, or I could say a reaction. That's how I would call it. There's the emotional reaction, and then there's the physical reaction to whatever just took place. So is bitachon really focusing? The real focus of bitachon is really on the emotional aspect, and that's really where we should have our mind set on. Because ultimately, if somebody repeats the behavior multiple times, like you said, this person can't continue in this role, or this person can't continue in the company, and you can backfeed all the things you may have given them a warning or whatever transpired, but you can still have the reaction to it. But really what it's really focused on is the emotional reaction or the emotional response during the entire experience. In other words, saying that this person is just a vehicle. We're supposed to lose money anyhow. However, this guy was, and so really what that's doing is taming my emotional response. So I might get angry, but then I might ask myself, why am I getting angry? Let me catch myself. Let me run this through my...
I should draw a picture for everybody. I'm a visual type guy. You have a human being. Outside in the world, there's stimuli constantly coming in.
Yeah.
All different types. It could be the weather, money up and down, your kids acting up or doing well, the employee losing money. Everything in life is coming into my system. Through my eyes, through my ears, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happens is that goes immediately into my brain. My brain within that, you can't even process how fast. It's seconds, not even seconds, nanoseconds. We react with emotions, goes right to the heart, even though it's not really in the heart, but that's how we visualize it. Right? It happens here, not here. We'll quickly react. Where's bitachon in this situation? Bitachon is it's filtering what's coming in. Instead of seeing it, now there's many levels. The goal is to get to that all the stimuli is just God, just a Kodesh Baruch Hu coming into my system. And everything's okay. I trust, everything is for the best. So even when it hits the system, it's all good. But until we get there, so the bitachon's not filtering my entire house, water, it's not filtering my entire system. It's inside my ears, which means the stimuli gets inside my eyes, it gets inside my ears, but before it gets to the brain, or let's say before it gets to the brain, so for a second it catches me, and then bitachon kicks in. Again, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one who's creating the stimuli, everything's going to be okay. For some people, it's only, let's say, over here. So what happens? The stimuli comes in, hits his brain, and he starts to get, or hits his head, his heart, and he starts to get really angry. But the bitachon is slowly building up, and then you can, once you hit that, when you get to that place of bitachon, things start to calm down. How did it calm down? The emotions, the calm down, menuchas nefesh? Because I trust there's a Kodesh Baruch Hu, there's a bigger picture. When you are in the state of bitachon, you're thinking straight. Then you can think, you can make the right decisions moving on, moving forward. Whether they're emotional decisions, whether they're just physical decisions, thinking. At bitachon, what it does is it creates an emotional, healthy emotions, and which are healthy thinking. We're all good, healthy thinking people, but the emotions can hijack a person. It's called the nefesh bahamas. We want to live above that. We want to live in the place called the ruach, which is where the das is. A little bit technical here. But when a person sees the world stimuli and it enters into his system and he starts to react, he's just like a behemoth. What's the difference between a behemoth? He's just an animal, just reacting, getting angry, doing things, upset. Even if he does, and he slams doors, or even if he doesn't do anything, he's angry inside. That's the nefesh bahamas. That's an animalistic. We're part animal, but we're also part malach. It's Kamar Chagiga. We're part animal 3 ways. We're part malach in 3 ways. The part malach is he has das. You think. He's clear. When your emotions are hijacking you, you are not clear. Your das is out the window. You've lost your mind. So what bitachon does is it elevates the person to the place called das. He lives in a world of das. That when the stimuli comes in, it doesn't hit the nefesh bahamas. It stays above. In the place of ruach, in the place of das, of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. You could think, you can be a malach, kilu. That's why when we talk about these types of conversations, like, what do you want me to be, l'maylam and a teva? That's crazy. This guy lost me $1,000, $10,000, and I'm supposed to be calm? You crazy? You only act, what am I, a malach? And the answer is, you could be. You could be l'maylam and a teva. Teva's nefesh bahamas. You want to live in teva? Go right ahead. You could live in teva. And we're humans, so we live in teva, but that's nefesh bahamas. We can live a higher life. And we're human, we still will fall to teva once in a while, but we want to live l'maylam in a teva. Why not? L'maylam in a teva doesn't mean you have to be a tzaddik. Doesn't mean you have to do mysticism and Kabbalah and float. That's not what l'maylam in a teva means. We don't even know what that means, so we just throw it out. L'maylam in a teva means when the situation happens and someone spits in your face, you smile back at them. L'maylam in a teva. When someone insults you, you don't get upset. L'maylam in a teva. When your kid's acting out, you calmly educate them. You educate them. Calmly educate them. And if you see that the situation needs you to raise your voice, you do it in a calculated way. Sometimes you do need to raise your voice. Sometimes they are being dangerous. But it's not coming from a nefesh bahamas. I'm angry at them. It's coming because that's how it seems to be according to the situation. You need to educate them. That's called l'maylam in a teva. We can't do that. We can't be those people. We can. Either with deep midos work, or with deep bitachon. We could do it. Everybody should do it. The world would be a better place. Our own personal world would be a better place, and maybe our family would be a better place. That's all you really need. All right, I think we'll pause for that one today.
You're gonna copy that for us?
I have it. I'll see if there's paper in the copy machine. I'll make it for you right now. But I don't want to give it to you yet. No, I'm not giving it to you yet. Because I only did 3 out of like 10.
It's okay.
You want it? I know, but I want
think
to
it's a very good.
I'll give it to you at the end.
What?
I'll give it to you at the end.
Whatever you say, I work for you.
This is